welcome to Illuminate,
a knowledge sharing series
by Meritto,
where we bring to you industry leaders from the top institutions of the country.
Thank you so much for joining our webinar today.
What we do is magic.
Today's topic for discussion is
What exactly is
enrollment blueprint, the story behind IIT's first international campus in Zanzibar,
maximizing your marketing ROI.
How top B schools in the country have evolved their processes over a period of time.
what Coursera has done so far globally.
the enrollment landscape evolving in UAE education institutions.
What exactly is WhatsApp Business API?
Filling seats is not the primary objective. Filling seats with quality students is of utmost importance here.
We are also highly ranked in the global rankings, top 100 in the Financial Times twice, top 20 in Forbes, top 10 in the world in Forbes, top 5 times Higher Education Wall Street Journal.
Higher education by its very nature is a global business. It's not like school, which is a neighborhood business, or nursery, which is like a walking distance.
One thing that has been really at the core of the journey is something at Coursera that we call learner first.
But yeah, I'll get back to you on that, once I'll be having you on a cup of coffee. Right. So which
But a cup of coffee is not going to get you the admission. You have to, make yourself.
A very warm welcome to all the audience who have joined us today for this webinar. The topic for discussion today would be shaping student journeys with the power of data. And I hope by the end of the discussion, you would have certain key takeaways for each one of you.
So today, our aim is to take you on an insightful journey. One that has the potential to redefine your strategies in realizing the power of student data for enrollment growth. We'll explore the nature of the student data, delve into various data sources, discuss how you can optimize your enrollment processes, and ultimately how it can empower you for informed decision-making and enrollment growth. To begin, let's discuss this with a case study of a student who wants to enroll in your institute. Meet Aditi, who is willing to enroll in your institute for a bachelor's program and has interacted with your institute using multiple touch points. So let's discuss the touch points which Aditi has used. So initially, she has expressed her interest in a bachelor's program via an online inquiry. Next, she has also interacted with the chatbot which is placed on your website. Now, in conversation with the website chatbot, she has inquired about the scholarship options which your institute is offering. Next, she is also actively exploring, simultaneously considering other alternatives and also exploring opportunities just like any other student. Also, she is engaging with the email sent by your university, which shows her continued interest. Now, at this point in time, by acting swiftly and efficiently, this institute can secure her enrollment, right? But later, when this counselor gets in touch with Aditi, Aditi reveals that she has already taken admissions in some other institute.
Well, Ridhima, that's quite surprising because Aditi, by this point of time, had shown some positive intent towards getting herself enrolled into the respective institution. But she chose otherwise. So it becomes important, this case study of Aditi, that what actually went wrong and why Aditi chose some other institution instead of her first preference, where she had interacted with the institution. Where was the disconnect and what one could have done better strategically to probably secure her enrollment?
Rightly asked, Kovid. So in today's discussion of shaping student journeys with the power of data, we'll discuss the missed opportunity, the disconnect, and what could this institute have done better to get Aditi enrolled. So, Kovid, you have been working in this industry for a decade now, right? So, I would like you to shed some light on education organizations holding vast amount of student data and multiple data sources today.
Yeah, so Ridhima, it is very clear indeed that yes, educational organizations do hold a lot of student information, and this student information flows into education institutions from various sources, right? So let's understand what are these sources actually. So a student inquires about any institution through online inquiry forms, through events, through webinars, through chatbot, through some engagement activities like email, SMS, WhatsApp. And there are certain other offline activities as well, like walk-ins and some fairs, etc. So there are a lot of data touch points through which a student can actually get in touch with the institute, just like we saw in the case of Aditi as well. And talking about student information, what is student information is also something that we should understand, right? What sort of student information that institutions carry, right? One aspect of student information is the essential information, which are the name, email ID, and mobile number, which are the essentials through which an institution actually interacts with the student so that they can contact that respective student at a later stage during the course of their admission journey. And now the question arises that how actually what is the importance of the student data? So when institutions have so much of data, they sort of miss out on actually utilizing these important pieces of information, because there are a lot of other informations also which are present with the institutions, like because the students interact at different stages and they give more information to institutions, like paying capacity, what is their family income, what course they are interested in, etc. So this information has to be utilized by the institutions very, very effectively, and that becomes essential. And in order to do so, let's understand this with an example. Suppose I'm an institution who is offering UG programs, right? So by default, my target universe becomes the students who are studying in grade 12th. And if I remember, students appearing last year for 12th exams in CBSE board alone were more than 1.6 million students. So obviously my universe is 1.6 million students as an institution, but does it make sense for me as an institution to target that whole bunch of 1.6 million students? I think the obvious answer would be no, right? So what an institution should be doing is utilizing this information to narrow down on their search and putting in the prospecting filters in order to reach out to the very specific set of target audience which are relevant to them, which will ultimately reduce on their cost of acquiring the customers, their bandwidth, their time, their money, their resources, right? And if they're able to do so, obviously they'll be able to enhance the overall student experience as well, right? So this becomes important. This is one aspect of how you can utilize the student information and student data, while there could be many other as well.
Absolutely, Kovid. So even I agree. Data points hold a very, very dominant role and importance for any institute. But Kovid, can you help me decode this data dilemma? I mean, what are the potential challenges that arise from having too many data points, too many data sources, which we discussed, but no insights to these data points and these data sources?
Yes, Ridhima. So like I discussed just in the previous slide itself, that too many data points with too many data sources leads sometimes the educational organizations to focus more time on managing their data mess, right? So they struggle with managing all of that data, ensuring that there is no leakage and all of that stuff. But they miss out on how to utilize that information which is hidden inside that data, right? Example, let's assume a marketing team. So in the admissions process, there are multiple teams which are involved, right? Let's clarify that. It's not a single team. There is an admission team, there is a marketing team, there is a telecalling team, there is a counseling team, some finance team, right? An IT team. So there are multiple teams which are working towards a common goal of achieving admissions for any institution. So this student information is lying with them, but this information is in fragments, and this is in bits and pieces with some of these teams. So the example that I'm putting was that marketing team information regarding placements for a PG program on a prospective set of student data, right? And some of those students out of that data click on that emailer, they found it interesting and leave their details. So they become an inquiry, and that inquiry is now being passed on to a counselor, right? That counselor is unaware of the fact that marketing team has triggered an emailer today, and now this lead has come to me from that activity. So what the counselor does is immediately picks up the phone and then starts speaking to the student, right? And then calls up and says that, yes, it seems you are interested in our institute, our admissions are open, would you like to apply? Now that is more of a generic approach of counseling a student. Rather, if the counselor would have had that information that yes, the student is coming from this particular source or the activity that was performed by the marketing team, and he was looking out for more information regarding placements. So better way to nurture or counsel the student would have been that yes, I know that you have clicked on the placements emailer. Is there something that you need more information regarding placements, or shall I tell you about the top companies which are recruiting from our campus for a PG program? So personalization is the key, and it is not just true that personalization for a customer becomes very essential, not just in education, but in any industry that you take. There are more chances that you would buy a product from a salesperson who is smart enough to utilize your information and then probably convert you by understanding your pain points and your information and then proposing a solution. Yes.
Right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. So now, Ridhima, from your experience, right? You are part of the customer success team. You have been involved in sort of enabling educational organizations and helping them achieve their KRAs. So how do you think education organizations shape student journeys with data? And could you also explain Aditi's story from your point of view and from what we have just discussed?
Kovid, I think, so from my point of view, Aditi showing continued interest for the first institute, but ends up enrolling in another institute, has many aspects to it, right? So I believe the first is the disconnect. The disconnect between Aditi's journey, Aditi's data points, and the institute. So unfortunately, what I believe is the data sources are not connected. The online inquiry raised by Aditi, chatbot interactions done by her, information about scholarship, email engagement, telephonic conversations with the counselors. I think all these activities were considered as separate events, right? Had this data been centralized in a single platform, the story would have been a lot different, because the team would have had much more visibility on Aditi's activities and interest. And I believe they could have provided a seamless nurturing experience and enrollment journey, right? So first, I think, is the disconnect. Second is the potential opportunity, right? Aditi being a potential student, she was continuously showing interest in the bachelor's program, asking about the scholarship facilities offered by the institute. And she was also actively exploring alternative institutes like just any other student. In case the first institute would have acted swiftly and efficiently, they could have secured her enrollment in the institute, right? The result, by not providing timely guidance, they risked losing a potential student, Aditi, to some other university or to some other institute, right? One that was quicker in delivering guidance, sharing scholarship information when she needed the most, and also offering an expedient enrollment process with an easy, I guess, applicant dashboard or maybe a payment option. So I think this is it.
Yeah, very rightly said. So it is clear from what you just mentioned, Ridhima, right? The lesson for everyone here is very clear that having a fragmented approach, or if your teams are working in silos and the student is having a disconnected journey all throughout, that fragmented approach is eventually going to leading to not enabling the institutions to act and touch base with the students at crucial timelines. And eventually they are going to miss out on the potential prospects or high-tech students who are ultimately going to could have enrolled with those institutions, while their competition took the advantage of that and were better than those who sort of not took a lesson from that, from what we discussed, right? So this is one of the challenge, but every challenge has with it brings some exciting prospect, right? And the prospect for this is eventually transformation. So now that we have learned that the student journey should not be disconnected, so we can embrace interconnectedness, right? Interconnectedness between the student journey, the bridging the gap between the student and the institution. So institution can actually enhance the overall experience of the student, because by embracing interconnectedness, they can not just enhance the experience of the students, but also use data as a strategic asset for driving their enrollment growth and draw insights from that. Because we know that change is the only thing which is constant, so change should be embraced at the cusp of transformation. And by now that we have known that what is actually student data, from which all sources data is flowing into educational organizations, what is the impact of not having a connected journey, I would like to ask from you, Ridhima, that can you share how educational organizations can actually start effectively utilizing the student data that we are talking about so much?
Okay, so Kovid, I think the very first step towards actually, start effectively utilizing the student data could be bringing all this data together, to bring all the data sources together. I mean, imagine merging data from various sources to create a unified picture of Aditi's path and her journey. No more scattered pieces, her academic aspirations, financial considerations, and potential roadblocks come together in real time. And this bringing this data ensures we are not just tracking Aditi's decisions, but understanding the whys behind her, right? So when we unify these data streams, we can proactively respond to her needs when she needs us, and ensuring that she feels seen and supported at every stage of her enrollment, which is very, very important. But I also believe that just bringing this data together will not help us to come to this conclusion. So another step would be to understand the details, understand each and every detail of a journey. So we have to, I guess, delve into the specifics of Aditi's preferences, her decisions, learn what excites her about courses, modules, and understand the factors that sway her towards other options, other universities. And I think this will allow us to fine-tune our offerings and interactions, making Aditi's enrollment journey both smooth and fulfilling, which is the ultimate goal for every institute, right? Now, bringing the data together and understanding the details is still incomplete if we do not visualize the progress. Imagine having a dashboard where every touch point of Aditi's journey, from her initial chatbot visit, her website visit, scholarship interactions, everything is captured. This is not just a record, but a tool. I mean, this can be used as a tool for real-time insights. And this snapshot in time, enriched with constant updates, I think can equip you to step in whenever needed as per your student's requirement, and providing timely guidance and support whenever Aditi needs or whenever any prospect student needs. So with an in-depth insight into Aditi's profile, we can curate experiences that truly resonate with her journey. I think another example could be consider recommending courses tailored to her career aspirations, or maybe introducing her to mentors with parallel journeys. By presenting customized scholarship opportunities when she needed, we are not only addressing her financial considerations, but also expedite her decision to finally enroll with this institute. Kovid, I would also like to put up an example here. Consider what would have happened if Aditi walked into this institute and paid for the application form fees offline. I mean, if the data is not together, if all the data points, data sources are not together, the assigned counselor would have never got to know that Aditi has already paid for the application form fees. Now, what will happen is her assigned counselor will constantly reach out to her, asking Aditi to submit her form, pay for the application form fee. This will not only impact Aditi's enrollment journey or her experience, but I believe this will also impact the brand image of this particular institute, right? So, Kovid?
Well, yes, absolutely. That's what we were also discussing about interconnectedness and what an impact it could have, the disconnected journey of a student on the overall brand image and the student experience. So yeah,
Right.
very right.
But Kovid, I have a doubt. Can you explain how this interconnected student data sources and insights from multiple touch points simplify the process for education organizations to optimize for enrollment journey, which is their final goal?
Yeah, so as you also mentioned, right, imagine a scenario wherein you were just discussing that if the counselor would have known about this, that what action points, what actions the student at the front end or is performing, if he's able to track that and then step in at the right time and guide the student, counsel the student, then how much of an impact that could make in the entire student journey during the course of his taking admission into any institution or during making that career choice as a student, right? So this makes the life of a counselor a whole lot easier, right? But we have talked enough about that we are going to do this, how a counselor can do this, how it is going to be tracked is the actual question, right? That how it is going to actually happen, how the magic is going to happen. So the magic is going to happen only through a CRM, right? And by embracing technology, right? So I mentioned about change. So that is technology and having a effective tool in place, a robust tool in place, which is a CRM. Essentially, as you can see on the screen as well, there are a couple of screenshots, right? Which is depicting the student journey and how an ideal student dashboard should look like, right? So you can see on your screens, the audience can also see that here from this dashboard, this is a unified dashboard for one particular student. And this actually helps the student in sort of start filling up an application form. He can choose to fill up an application form for a particular course. He can opt to apply for multiple courses as well. He can track the progress of his applications, he or she. And the student can also he or she does not have to worry about the loss of information, because we know that from data also we process more than 5 million applications at Meritto, right? And we have seen from data that students usually take multiple attempts in filling and completing an entire application form. So they do not have to worry about that. Whatever information they have filled up, next time they have to start afresh. They can continue next time, come back later at some other time, and then start from where they had left off. And while filling up the form also, if they're filling up at odd hours when the counselors or the admission team at the institution's end are not available, then they can raise their queries from the query manager within the dashboard itself, upload some supporting documents, and the institutions will get to know about their concerns and then they can answer it. So the student starts to panic actually whenever he is not aware about the status of his application, right? So this dashboard bridges that gap between the institution and the student. And if the institution also has to update the student regarding certain information updates, like any modifications in the last dates to apply, any change in dates of a GD or a personal interview, if they have to offer certain scholarships based on the student's profile, and all those things, right? So all of those are actually captured within the student dashboard itself. He has access to all this host of information without having to go anywhere else, right? So this solves a lot of problems for the student as well as for the institution, right? Another sort of functionality that I can remember here is that yes, the students can actually, while uploading documents, they can get their documents verified from the student itself, and their demographics can also be validated from the Aadhaar number, right? So that makes the life easier for the institutions and saves up a lot of time and effort. So yeah, this is a brief overview of the student journey, though we have a lot of more functionalities in this dashboard to sort of discuss upon. He could have a seamless experience of from inquiry to till the time he wants to get enrolled into a respective institution. Now from a counselor's perspective, Ridhima, if you can share your experience, because you have been enabling institutions, how an ideal counselor dashboard or admission team's dashboard should look like, wherein they can track the actual progress of an applicant.
So if you ask me to define the ideal dashboard in one word, I would say lead profile. So I think a lead profile is a comprehensive overview of lead activities. The lead profile page provides all the data, all the activities being performed in a single view. So encompassing all engagement activities performed by the lead owner or the student, such as calls done or maybe follow-ups added, lead remarks added in a single frame. So this detailed view in the lead profile page helps in nurturing the data through different modules, right? So if I talk about the various touch points which we have in this profile page, as you can see on the screen, we have an added on date at the top, which is the date and time on which the lead was added into the system. Then we have last activity, which shows the last activity, date and time of the lead present in the system. Then we have lead score. So a lead score is basically a number that shows how promising a lead is. It turns their behavior information into a simple metric that helps them sort all these data automatically. So activities here include opening of emails, clicking on links, signing up for applications, visiting websites, etc. Then we have lead strength. So lead strength is a statistical measure indicating the likelihood of a specific lead getting converted as an enrollment. It basically reflects the lead's level of interest and the probability of getting converted. So a higher lead strength implies faster chances of conversion. Then not only the lead activity score and strength, we also have communication status, which shows the count of email and SMS sent. We have telephony status, which shows the number of incoming calls received and the number of outgoing calls made. Then we have the name of the assigned lead counselor. Then we also have lead status, which lead status basically shows whether the lead is verified or unverified. Then we have lead source, which is the most important thing. So lead source is basically the channel, the campaign through which the lead has registered into the system. Also, as you can see, we have a journey in the screenshot present. The journey which shows whether the lead is unverified, and then did the lead move from unverified status to verified, then to application started, payment approved, application submitted, and finally getting enrolled, right? Also, the counselor can change the lead stage. Now, lead stage is basically used to segregate leads based on the dispositions. Apart from all of this, other options available in the lead profile page are adding follow-up, adding notes, communication performance, and we can also reassign leads. Reassigning leads from counselor A to counselor B or maybe to counselor C, right? Now, we also have a timeline section present here in the screenshot. Timeline shows the overall activity performed by the lead. And then after activity, we have follow-up and notes. So follow-up and notes is a segment which will allow lead owners to add follow-up, add detailed notes about this particular lead. Then apart from this, we have a detailed communication log section. So under this section, the complete details and overall communication done with this lead will be visible. And not just the count of email and SMS sent, but also open rate, click rate, bounced rate, SMS delivered, SMS not delivered. Then in case of WhatsApp, we also have WhatsApp sent, delivered, click rate, unsubscribe rate, and also auto reply. Apart from this, we also have a document locker section, which shows the documents which the student has uploaded while filling up the application form. And also, if by chance the student raised any query while filling the application form, all the queries will be shown in the ticket section. Lastly, we also have a call log section, which shows the total number of incoming calls received and the duration, outbound calls done along with the duration, and the final total duration, also average duration.
So that is a lot of functionalities, Ridhima, that you have just mentioned. So by just to summarize, on the lead profile of an admission team or a counselor team, there are two aspects to it. One is that, yes, wherein the counselor can actually track whatever activity the student is performing. And then based on whatever activity, he can draw insights and then take appropriate actions, right? Which is the other end, wherein he can add notes, follow-ups, and make calls and whatnot. A lot of features. So I can purely imagine that, yes, this makes the life for the admissions teams a hell lot easier.
Right. So I guess Kovid, a CRM which provides connected data helps your team deeply understand a student's journey, much like Aditi's experience, which we discussed right now, right? So when your team steps in with the right advice at the right time, like when Aditi needed, whether it's chats, interest, or messages, when it all comes together, your team helps when needed by the student. So I think unlocking enrollment success requires more than just a data-centric approach. It demands a platform centered and built around education and student journeys. Kovid, since we are discussing about CRMs. There are multiple types of CRMs out there, right? What I know is we have a sales CRM, we have a student-centric CRM. Can you throw some light on the types of CRMs? Also, is it fine for education institutes to go for a sales CRM?
Well, Ridhima, the answer to this question is simply plain and simple Meritto, which is a student-centric and education-centric CRM, right? See, because why I say this is because see, CRMs have been in existence since very long, right? From the 90s, right? And I have spent almost a decade in the education now. So when I was starting, I can candidly remember that there were hardly any institutions who would probably talk about implementing a CRM, right? Forget about them even knowing. Some of them might not be even knowing what CRM is. So why was that? They could have implemented those CRMs in those times, but actually CRMs were present, but they were solving only problems in bits and pieces, not the whole puzzle, right? So that led to a lot of institutions avoiding transformation at that point of time. So I think student-centric CRM becomes very essential now. Because more of sales CRMs, they are built with a broader focus that demands multiple customizations, right? Which could not cater to the use cases of admissions team or the multiple teams which are involved in the admissions process. Admissions in itself seems a small term, but is very complex. Believe you me, from the experiences that we have had and since we have been working in this industry. So, and sales CRMs are more designed for sales processes, managing the sales pipeline, right? They provide limited insights into holistic student journey, right? So they may miss out on crucial data points like what we just discussed in the previous 2 slides. How a student can actually complete his end-to-end journey through a student dashboard of Meritto, what advantages and benefits a lead profile page of a Meritto CRM could give to a counselor or an admission team. It's more or less everything pertaining to the student that they can track, right? So that is why having student-centric CRMs which can cater to the use cases and workflows of all the teams which are involved in admissions, who can give you insights and data-driven insights, and based on that you can take informed decisions. You can optimize your marketing campaigns also, yeah, and end up saving on a lot of marketing dollars. One example of Meritto's unique feature, like a very plain and simple example, could be that, yes, imagine in the case of Aditi, she tried to get in touch with the institution through multiple touch points, through an email or through a chatbot, etc. Right? In the absence of a CRM, imagine that the institution would be receiving duplicate leads of Aditi from different sources. Now, first is it will obviously inflate their cost of acquiring that student or customer, right? But second of all, they won't be able to capture all the sources, right? And handle with the lead duplicity when the volumes are at large. So in Meritto, you can easily do away with lead duplicity, and you can capture up to 3 levels of sources: primary, secondary, and tertiary. So as an institute, you can use this as an insight to know that, okay, these are the 2 to 3 platforms where the students are actually inquiring about me. I can run some progressive campaigns upon them. I know my brands are getting rediscovered on these platforms. So I can take actions accordingly based on data. Right. Another example is mutually exclusive impact, which is another feature which is exclusive to Meritto and to a student-centric CRM, which through which you can discover the impact of not working with a particular publisher or a channel in terms of the leads, applications, paid applications, and enrollments. So these are quite unique concepts which are very specific to any education-specific CRM, and I think Meritto is the right choice for most of the institutions, right?
Rightly said. So if I summarize, I guess working with a student-centric CRM like Meritto, built on use cases learned from top institutes, is the game changer. Kovid, we have Rohit on the Q&A session asking difference between lead score and lead strength. Would you like to take this up?
Yeah, sure. So Rohit, lead score is the score that is built over a period of time, right? And it is a combination of both the user activity and the counselor activity. So let's say, for example, a user performed different activities, whether I explained through an example of a marketing team triggering a emailer to a set of prospective students. So when a student performs any activity, he starts filling up an application. He clicked on an emailer or a SMS or a WhatsApp. Any activity or call to action button that the student is clicking upon is treated as an activity in the system. And that is known as a lead score, right? That builds up the lead score. Plus, the counselor activity also contributes to lead score. Like, for example, a counselor performs some action after speaking to a student. He marks the disposition of that respective student as theirs, that it is not interested. Then some negative scoring would be given to that respective student, right? And that will actually, at the end of the day, will build up a lead score. Now, coming to lead strength. Now, imagine a scenario wherein you have 50,000 odd leads, right? Now, a lead score could be it could be in any range, right? It could be minus, it could be plus, and not just limited to 100, but beyond that as well. So what does a lead score of 65 or 150 signify? Let's say 150 signify. So I want to understand that overall, amongst the overall lead pool of 50,000 leads, 150 score depicts, let's say, a percentile of 97. So that means I only have 3% students which are below the score of above the score of 150. So that is the difference between lead score and lead strength. I hope I was able to answer your question, Rohit.
So as you strive for enrollment growth, Meritto is your partner in discovering the transformative power of connected data through our purpose-built solutions. Trusted by over 1,200 plus education organizations worldwide, we facilitate an average of 1 billion student engagements annually, handle 100 million inquiries on average, process 5 million applications annually, and empower 50,000 business users across various departments and job functions. From edtech companies, coaching, training institutes, study abroad consultants, K-12 schools, play and preschools, to higher ed institutions, our purpose-built solutions and extensive industry expertise are at your service. Thank you so much for being a part of this insightful session today. In addition to assisting education organizations like yours with our purpose-built products, we are on a mission to enhance your learning and knowledge base through our webinars. Stay tuned to our official LinkedIn profiles for announcements about our upcoming webinars.